Have you ever wondered what's going on with your baby in the womb? Let's look through 15 facts about what babies do in the womb that can make your jaw be on the floor. Let's go. 1. Twin babies reach for each other in the womb, deliberately. Fact number 1. Research using 4D ultrasound found that by just 18 weeks in the womb, twin babies were spending more time in deliberate contact with their sibling than with themselves. More time reaching for each other than touching their own bodies. Scientists describe the contact as planned, not accidental, not random, but intentional, sustained, and preferential. Twin babies are not simply sharing space. They are choosing each other, seeking each other out, preferring company over solitude, months before birth. The bond between twins that people describe as extraordinary, as almost supernatural, did not begin at birth. It began in the quiet dark of the womb, and it was already a choice. 2. Your baby's sex was decided at fertilization, but their body didn't commit to it until week 7. Fact number 2. The moment the sperm met the egg, the chromosomal sex of your baby was determined. That part is well known. But what most people do not know is this. For the first 6 weeks of life inside you, your baby's body was completely identical regardless of whether they were genetically male or female. Every embryo, every single one, begins with the same undifferentiated anatomy, the same structures, the same biological blueprint. It is only at around week 7, triggered by a specific cascade of genetic signals, that the body begins to diverge. The decision was made in the DNA. The body just needed a few more weeks to receive the memo. 3. If you were carrying a girl, 3 generations were inside you at the same time. Fact number 3. If you carried a baby girl, something extraordinary was happening inside her simultaneously. All the eggs a woman will ever produce in her entire lifetime are formed while she is still a fetus in the womb. Not after birth, not at puberty, but in utero. Your daughter, while she was still inside you, was already producing and storing every egg she would ever carry, which means the egg that will one day become your grandchild was inside your daughter while your daughter was still inside you. 3 generations, simultaneously present, in the same body. You were not just carrying your daughter. You were, in the most literal biological sense, carrying your grandchildren too. 4. Your baby could feel your emotions through chemistry, not intuition. Fact number 4. When you felt stressed during pregnancy, genuinely, persistently stressed, cortisol crossed the placenta and reached your baby directly. When you felt calm, content, and safe, different neurochemicals cross instead. Your baby was not simply growing inside your body. They were inside your emotional experience, receiving chemical information about the world before they had ever entered it. Research has confirmed that the emotional environment of the womb shapes the developing stress regulation systems of the baby. The womb was your baby's first world, and they were reading it through the chemistry of your blood every single day. This is not shared to bring guilt. It is shared to bring awe. Because it also means that every moment of peace you found, every prayer you said, every time you took a slow breath and chose calm, your baby felt that too. 5. Every time you moved, your baby moved in response. Fact number 5. Every time you rolled over in bed, stood up from a chair, changed direction while walking, or even shifted your weight, your baby felt it. Not vaguely, precisely. Research shows that fetal movement patterns respond directly to the mother's positional changes. The shift in gravity, the change in pressure, the new orientation of their entire world. Your baby was not floating passively in neutral space. They were living in a world that moved with you, tilted with you, responded to you. Every single movement you made was their experience too. You were not just carrying your baby. You were their entire physical universe. 6. Your baby was practicing everything, months before they needed it. Fact number 6. Babies in the womb practice breathing. Despite there being no air, they swallow, they hiccup, they suck their thumbs. They cry, silently, completely, with full facial expression and breathing pattern, in response to unpleasant stimuli. Every single reflex and skill your newborn arrived with, the feeding reflex, the breathing reflex, the soothing mechanism of thumb sucking, was rehearsed repeatedly in the weeks and months before birth. Your baby did not arrive unprepared. They arrived having practiced. Birth was not their first day. It was their graduation ceremony. 7. Your baby's activity level in the womb predicted who they would be as a child. Fact number 7. Research has found that fetal movement patterns, how active a baby is, how they respond to stimulation, the variability of their heart rate, are measurable predictors of temperament, activity level, and emotional reactivity after birth. The baby who kicked constantly, especially at night, was not being inconvenient. They were introducing themselves, telling you exactly who they were. And the quiet baby, the one who moved gently and predictably, was already that person too. The personality you fell in love with after birth did not begin at birth. It was already there, already recognizable, already completely, unmistakably theirs. 8. Your baby already had completely unique fingerprints by just 17 weeks. Fact number 8. By week 17, your baby's fingerprints were fully formed. Those tiny, unique, unrepeatable ridge patterns, the prints that will mark every surface they ever touch for the rest of their entire life, were already set, already theirs, already unlike any fingerprint that had ever existed in human history. In the history of the human species, across every person who has ever been born, no two fingerprints have ever been identical, and your babies were already formed, already individual, already permanent, at 17 weeks. 9. Your baby had a tail in the womb, and it quietly disappeared. Fact number 9. Between weeks 5 and 8 of pregnancy, every human embryo develops a visible tail, longer, proportionally, than the legs at that stage of development. It is real, it is measurable, and it gradually recedes as development continues, eventually becoming the coccyx, the tailbone that sits at the base of the spine. Every human being who has ever lived had a tail in the womb, briefly, visibly, before it quietly, completely disappeared. Your baby was no exception. 10. Your baby also briefly had gill-like structures that became their ears, jaw, and throat. Fact number 10. Around weeks 4 and 5, tiny ridges form in the throat area of every human embryo, structures that, in other animals, would develop into gills. In your baby, these same structures were redirected entirely, becoming the bones of the inner ear, the cartilage of the jaw, and the architecture of the throat. The same biological building material. Completely different result. 11. Your baby's heart beat 54 million times before they were born. Fact number 11. From around 8 weeks, your baby's heart was beating at approximately 160 times per minute. And from that point until birth, across the remaining weeks of pregnancy, their heart beat approximately 54 million times. 54 million. Before their first breath, before their first cry, before you ever held them. The heart you listened on the monitor, the sound that made you cry the first time you heard it, was already one of the most experienced hearts in the room on the day your baby was born. It had been working without pause for months. 12. Your baby was making urine for 11 weeks, and the womb was a recycling system. Fact number 12. From as early as 11 weeks, the fetal kidneys were producing urine, releasing it directly into the amniotic fluid. Your baby then swallowed that fluid. Their kidneys processed it and released it again, continuously, for months. By the 3rd trimester, this recycling cycle means your baby was contributing the majority of the amniotic fluid volume themselves. The fluid that cushioned every movement, that their lungs practiced breathing in and out, was substantially their own recycled urine, on a loop for the entire 2nd and 3rd trimester. Your baby was living in a self-sustaining biological system of extraordinary sophistication. It is just that nobody quite phrases it that way on the pregnancy apps. 13. Your baby's personality was being shaped by your stress, your joy, and your peace biochemically. Fact number 13. The emotional environment of your pregnancy was your baby's first world. Research has established that the hormonal chemistry of a mother's emotional state crosses a placenta and directly influences the development of the baby's own stress regulation systems. Chronic sustained stress affects how the baby's brain learns to process and respond to threat. Consistent calm supports more regulated neurological development. Every moment of peace you found in your pregnancy, every deliberate breath, every quiet moment, Every time you chose rest over worry was received by your baby as chemical information about the world they were about to enter. You were not just growing a baby. You were telling them, through your blood, what kind of world was waiting for them. 14. Your baby could feel pain from as early as 17 weeks. Fact number 14. By week 17 and 18, the fetal nervous system has developed functional pain pathways, measurable withdrawal responses, stress hormone surges, and neurological reactions to painful stimuli that are clearly documentable on research equipment. This discovery fundamentally changed how medical procedures on fetuses are performed, with fetal anesthesia now considered standard practice for procedures carried out after the stage of development. Your baby was not a passive passenger in the womb. They were a sensing, responding, feeling human being from a stage of pregnancy that most people would not have expected. 15. Your baby sent their own cells into your brain, where they may still be living right now. And finally, fact number 15. During pregnancy, your baby cells crossed the placenta into your bloodstream, and from there they migrated into your organs, your liver, your bone marrow, your heart, and your brain. In 2024, research published in one of the world's leading scientific journals confirmed that fetal cells cross the blood-brain barrier and become functional neurons, living, working brain cells inside the mother. Your baby left a piece of themselves inside you, permanently, not symbolically, not metaphorically, physically, biologically, verifiably. And those cells, your child cells, may still be living in your brain right now. You and your child are not, and have never been, entirely separate. At the cellular level, you are still connected. You always will be. That is what happened inside you. That is who your baby already was. That is what your body made possible, without you ever being fully aware of any of it. If this video made you see your pregnancy or your child differently today, share it right now with every parent you know. Drop in the comments which facts stop you the most. I want to know. And subscribe, because we go this deep every single week. I will see you in the next one.